Okay, everybody, it's Jay the ENTJ back for another video after what seems like an eternity. But somebody was talking about logic. They were asking me about logic and what it is, and you always hear NTs throwing the word logic around. And I think that it gets confusing, and a lot of people don't really know what it is. A lot of people don't even know how to construct a logical argument. They think they do. They think they're making a lot of sense, but they're really not. Because a lot of times people are emotional when they have arguments anyway, and so their results are not really based on anything structured or anything, based on the way they feel about something, which you know doesn't have anything to do with whether the argument is logical or not. But simply stated, because I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time with this, but simply stated, a logical argument is a method of reasoning in which you infer an outcome or a conclusion from a set of evidence or the premises. Okay, and so you have deductive and inductive arguments. And deductive arguments is when you work from general to specific. When you have a set of evidence and you take that evidence and dwindle it down to a specific conclusion. Okay, that's a deductive argument. Okay. An inductive argument is when you have a conclusion, or when you go from specific to general. So you have a conclusion and you're working your way backwards, okay, to the evidence that created the conclusion. So that's what those things are in a nutshell. If you want to know what those are more specifically, look them up. But that's the general idea. Okay, and then also, arguments are made up of valid, invalid, sound, and unsound. Those are the terminologies that you'll generally hear. Okay, most arguments are unsound. That's just number one. Most arguments are unsound. A lot of arguments are valid. Okay, a lot of arguments are valid, but I think a lot of people don't know what validity is. Okay, and validity basically is just a situation where, if the premises are true, then the conclusion, must logically follow. Okay, the conclusion must logically follow the premises if the premises are true. The premises don't have to be true though, and that's where people get confused. Okay, the premises don't have to be true, but an example of a valid argument where the premise, well, where all of the premises aren't true, is something like all dogs are aliens. Okay, a poodle is a dog, therefore poodles are aliens. That's a valid argument. Okay, that's a valid argument, and I know you're probably like, what do you mean? It's a valid argument because it logically follows that if all dogs are aliens and a poodle is a dog, then a poodle would have to be an alien, right? It's a valid argument. It's not true, which means it's not sound. Okay? Both of the premises have to be true, or all of the premises. It can be more than one premise. All of the premises have to be true, and the argument has to be valid. Okay? So now an invalid argument is when the conclusion doesn't logically follow. So if I take the same example that I just used, all dogs are aliens, poodles are dogs, therefore poodles are humans. That's an invalid argument, right? Because it doesn't logically follow the information in the premises. Okay? Now a sound argument is easy. Okay? A sound argument is when you say something, and I'll use the same example because it's just easier than just coming up with stuff. I didn't write anything down. I'm doing this off the top of my head. But a sound argument is all dogs are animals. German shepherds are dogs. Therefore, German shepherds are animals. That's a valid statement, and it's a sound. That's a valid argument. That's a sound argument. Okay. It's valid because the conclusion logically follows the premises if they were true. and it's sound because both of the premises are actually true in reality. Therefore, and the conclusion is also true in reality. Everything has to be true in reality. Okay, the premises and the conclusion, and then you have a sound argument, and that's what you're striving for. When you're arguing, you're striving for a sound argument. Really, no matter what method you're using, whether you're using deductive reasoning or inductive reasoning or whatever, you want to have a sound argument, because then your argument is true. And then, if a person can't refute your argument, then by default you won, or what have you, from a logical perspective. So that's what logic is. If you want to know anything more than that, either ask, or I prefer you just, do what, I would do, or any um, um, you know, NT would do, which is, research it. Research it. It's better probably if you research it, only because you can learn at your own pace. But if you ask me something, I'll answer it. All right. So I hope that helped out at least a little bit. Later.